We continue now at the top of Daf Lamed Chesam and Beis in Mesechet Nedarim. This is Nedarim Daf 38b. Rabbi Eliezer continues in the Mishnah and says, Nafsha v'gufa l'shamayim. When it comes to an animal that is not kosher, so its soul and its body belong to heaven. As the Mefarish over here says, Nafsha v'gufa l'shamayim she'ina ru'uya l'achila. The person's not able to eat that animal anyway. L'fika chazano, so therefore the other individual, the one who's not supposed to be giving benefit, is allowed to feed that animal. De'eno mahano, because he's not really giving that other person benefit. Hanam maruba, he's not giving him a great benefit because he can't eat the animal anyway. So therefore, even in a situation of a mudar hanam, the person who's not supposed to be giving benefit to the other person is still allowed to feed his non-kosher animal, according to Rabbi Eliezer. Amru lo, so the Chachamim said back to Rabbi Eliezer, Afatzmei, it's not true. Even the non-kosher animal, Nafsha l'shamayim v'gufa shalo. The soul belongs to heaven, but the body does belong to him. Shem yirtza, because if he wants, Hareu mochra la'ovdei kochavim, o ma'achila l'klavim, he can sell it to non-Jews, or he can feed it to the dogs. He could get benefit, and therefore he does benefit if the other person feeds the animal and fattens the animal on his behalf. And the Gemara says, Amar Rav Yitzchak bar Chananya, Amar Rav Huna, Rav Yitzchak bar Chananya says that Rav Huna says, Hamudar hana mechaveru, if somebody is mudar hana from his friend, he can't get benefit from his friend, mutar lahasi lo bito. It's mutar for him to marry his daughter. The Gemara will explain exactly what we are talking about. So have a bar Rabbi Zera. So Rabbi Zera wondered about this statement. But my asking him, what exactly is the case? If you're going to say that the case we're talking about, the case that Rav Huna is talking about, is when the property of the father of the kala is also to the chassan, and the chiddush over here is, even though the avi hakala is not allowed to give any benefit to the chassan, he can give him his daughter as a wife. But that doesn't make any sense. Hare moser lo shifcha l'shamsho, giving him his daughter as a wife is the equivalent of giving him a maidservant to serve him. That is certainly a benefit, and therefore it should be prohibited if the property of the father, the kala, is also to the chassan. So that cannot be what Rav Huna was saying. So rather the case has to be where the property of the chassan is also to the father of the kala, and the chiddush is that the father of the kala can give his daughter over to the chassan, and even though the chassan will now support that daughter, that's not considered to be a benefit. But the Gemara says gedola mizu amru, but that we've said an even greater chiddush than that. That's not even such a big chiddush. It's obvious, because what did we say? We said that zonis ishto v'yasbanav. We said that in a situation where a person is not supposed to provide benefit to another individual, but he is allowed to give mizonos, to give support to his wife and his children. And even though that other fellow is chayiv to support those individuals, so it would seem to be a benefit, but it's still considered okay. And you're saying that it's mutter, that he's allowed to marry his daughter. Of course he's allowed to marry his daughter. Just because he's going to support the daughter, he's even allowed to provide direct support to the person's wife and the person's children. So that wouldn't even be a chiddush, it would be too obvious. And so the question then remains, what exactly was Rav Huna saying? And the Gemara answers, Liolam b'shenichse avikala asurim ala chassan. Really, Rav Huna was talking about a situation where the property of the father of the kala is usher to the chassan. Therefore, you would think it should be problematic for the father of the kala to give his daughter over to the chassan. It should be the equivalent of giving the chassan a maidservant to serve him. But that's not the case. Why? Because we're talking here where his daughter was a fully grown woman, she was an adult. This was done with her consent. Therefore, it's not really considered as if the father is giving over his daughter. She's giving over herself, and it's not going to be a problem. And the Gemara says, Tanya Nami Hachu, we have a brisa that supports this as well. Hamudar hana mechaveru, if somebody's mudar hana from his friend, asur lahasi lo bito, it's asur to marry his daughter. And again, that's going to be talking about when the father of the kala is not allowed to provide benefit to the chassan. Aval masio bito bogeres umidaita, but he is allowed to marry his daughter who is an adult, who's a grown woman, if it's with her consent. Again, then it's not considered to be coming as a benefit from the avi hakala, and therefore it's going to be permitted. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rabbi Yaakov says, Hamadir b'no l'Talmud Torah. Let's say a person makes a neder, he doesn't want his son to get benefit from him, and he's making that in order to encourage his son to learn Torah. So still small benefits are going to be allowed. Mutter l'malos lo chavesh mayim. It's permitted for him to fill for him a barrel of water, u'lahadlik lo es haner, and to light a candle from him. Those are minor benefits. It's a minor form of hana, and it is still going to be mutter. Rabbi Yitzchak says, litzlos lo dog katan. It's also permitted for him to roast a small fish. Also, that is a minor benefit and not a problem. And the Gemara continues along the same lines. Amar Reb Yirmiyah, Amar Reb Yochanan. Reb Yirmiyah says that Reb Yochanan says, Hamuder hana mechaveru muter lahashkoso kos shel shalom. If somebody's muder hana from his friend, he is allowed to give him to drink a cup of wine of peace. That also is a minor benefit that is permitted. Mai nihu, what exactly is this kos shel shalom, this cup of peace? Hacha targimu, here in Bavel, they understand that to mean kos shel beis ha'evel. It's the cup that is given, cup of wine that is given to the mourners in the house of the mourners. B'ma'arava Amri, in the West, in Eretz Yisrael, they say kos shel beis ha'merchatz. It's referring to the cup of wine that a person drinks when he leaves the bathhouse. And the Mefarish over here explains, Tanya nami hachi, we learned in a brisa like this as well, that when you're talking about a grown woman, the grown daughter, in the case of a muder hana, it's mutter to marry her. The hana muetas muteres, the way that the Mefarish learns, this is also a case of a hana muetas. It's just a small benefit from the father of the kala, and that's going to be mutter. Hamaders beno min achasav im lo yilma Torah. If somebody says that his son cannot benefit from his property if he doesn't learn Torah, again, this neder was made to encourage him to learn Torah. Mutter ha'av lamalos, again, the father's allowed to do these small things, sha'ana meruba nadar heimenu, because great benefits, that's what the neder encompasses. Velo hana muetas, not small benefits. V'zu hana muetasi, and this is just a small benefit. Kos shel beis hamerchatz, again, the cup of wine that is drunk after the bathhouse, hana muetasi, that is a small amount of benefit. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, "V'lo yazenes behemto bein v'chulo." You're not allowed to feed his animal, whether the animal is kosher, whether it's not kosher. The Gemara says, Tanya, we learned in a brisa, Yehoshua ish uza omer. Yehoshua ish uza says, "Zon avoda v'shivchosav hakananim." It's okay to give food to his servants or his maidservants who are not Jewish. V'lo yazenes behemto bein tumei bein tahora. But he cannot give food to his animal, whether the animal is not kosher, whether it's kosher. My time, and what's the reason for this distinction? Avoda v'shivchosav hakananim leman charusa avidan, because his servants who are not Jewish, that they're for the purpose of labor. Behema lefatuma avida, but when it comes to an animal, the purpose is to fatten the animal. Therefore, it's a direct benefit. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Hamuder hana mechaveru. If somebody's prohibited by neder from getting benefit from his friend, v'nichnas levakro, and he enters to visit him, omer avalo yoshev, he can stand but he cannot sit, omerapo refuas nefesh, and he can heal him, a healing of the soul, avalo refuas mamon, but not a monetary healing. This will all be explained in the Gemara. We'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Lamed Tes Amud Aleph.